Harry is banished from the US, Meghan snickered seeing her plot complete. As we already know, Harry didn't see any problem discussing his past drug abuse in his book. And now what the Heritage Foundation is asking Homeland Security to do is to show the application so that it can be figured out whether or not Harry lied in his application, or whether Homeland Security was complicit in trying to cover up his past drug use. A royal expert has spoken out to claim that if Prince Harry were to be involved in a situation where he admitted in writing to taking drugs and subsequently faced legal consequences in the United States, the specific outcome would depend on the circumstances, applicable laws, and the actions taken by law enforcement and legal authorities. While cannabis laws vary between states in the U.S., cannabis is still illegal at the federal level. If Harry's drug use were to violate federal laws, he could possibly face legal consequences, like fines or probation or even imprisonment, depending on the severity of the offense and the specific federal statutes involved. And when it comes to his immigration status, if Harry were found guilty of drug-related offenses, and if he were to face legal consequences, it may have implications for his residency status in the U.S. too. See, non-U.S. citizens, including people with temporary visas or permanent residency, also known as a green card, can face immigration consequences if they are convicted of certain crimes. It's impossible to predict what the specific consequences would be because it would depend on how bad the offense was, the type of visa or residency status that Harry has, and the discretion of immigration authorities as well. It is possible that such circumstances may result in Harry's visa being taken away or his residency status being called into question. At the end of the day, the decision would be made by immigration authorities based on applicable immigration laws and regulations. The fact is, Harry is not a U.S. citizen, so as a foreign national, if he was found to have violated U.S. federal laws when it comes to drug possession, including admitting to taking drugs in writing, then it may have legal implications. The consequences, of course, would depend on the specific circumstances, how bad the offense was, and the discretion of law enforcement and immigration authorities. Generally speaking, if someone is found guilty of a drug-related offense, then they could be facing fines or probation, community service, mandatory treatment programs, or in more serious cases, they can go to prison. Now, Harry is a very high-profile person, so any legal proceedings may attract a lot of media attention and public scrutiny as well. And when it comes to immigration status, drug-related offenses are not a good thing. Being found guilty of a drug-related offense can definitely affect a person's visa or immigration status. Violations of federal drug laws, even in states where cannabis actually is legal, can actually be grounds for denial of entry, for deportation, or other immigration-related consequences. But it's impossible to predict exactly what would happen, because it would depend on the circumstances and the applicable laws at the time. In other news, let's talk about Harry's court case in the UK. So Harry took over 15 years to gather enough courage, and then he didn't have any evidence to support his accusations whatsoever. His accusations actually go all the way back to the 90s, according to a recent report that I saw. So I guess I was wrong that his claims go back almost 30 years. But anyway, Harry claims that he had a feeling the phone hacking happened to him, but he didn't know when or if it really occurred. And he ended up dragging poor Chelsea Davy, his ex-girlfriend, into his courageous stand against the media, and he also accused a previous editor of supporting the illegal methods of getting information. Chelsea Davy and Harry broke up back in 2011, and since then she has moved on. She has built a beautiful life for herself. She's gotten married and they had a child. And then Harry goes after her. What was he thinking? I mean, how dare he bring up her name in court? That was wrong. Did he even think about how that would affect Meghan Markle, hearing that the love of her husband's life is not her, but instead his ex-girlfriend? Now, there have been other cases that cover this period of time that have been tried already, so it seems like Harry is only now considering that maybe he can get some easy money from them. Before, he had claimed that he had brought the court case to protect other people and to make sure that justice is served, but he expected other people to investigate and to give him all the evidence. Harry also showed how little he understands about a court case when he said that the defense should come up with evidence to prove that he's wrong. He also shared his views on the police force and the government. He said that it is rock bottom. But what is not obvious is whether that period lasted from the 90s until today, or just recently when they didn't want to provide him with the additional security that he thought he deserved. Harry hurled a lot of accusations, but he only had his feelings to support these accusations. His cross-examination by the defendant's legal team naturally focused on what evidence a court of law could rule on. Now, did Harry even have any evidence to base his claims on? It looks like probably not. It's reasonable to expect that Harry was probably affected by illegal phone hacking at the same time as the rest of the family and other celebrities. And Harry could have proved this in a written statement by disclosing the information that he had shared privately over the phone, showing that it had to have been leaked into the media and there was no other way for the media to get this information, and then explaining how rough this was for him personally. But he didn't do that. Most of the examples that Harry provided are of incidents or events that were already in the public domain. The examples he cited were examples where the press clearly got the information through legal interviews or palace press releases, or maybe even from strangers who maybe told people they shared a flight with Harry or something like that. So basically, Harry is arguing a completely different case. He is arguing that the media is intruding on his privacy just because he was born a public figure. Now, that is a valid point, but why did he think that it was necessary to discuss all those nasty media rumors about his paternity? That is not what this current legal case is about. He's also hurting his own argument by talking publicly about his ex-girlfriend Chelsea Davy, who is certainly not a public figure, and I don't believe that she consented to Harry telling everybody why they broke up. Harry's also talked about how much money William was awarded in a private settlement in relation to the phone hacking, which is clearly another betrayal of William's privacy. And I doubt it was intentional, but Harry basically implied why he's pursuing this case. Seems like Harry is viewing this court case as an opportunity to air all his grievances, not only the ones that are related to the court case, but all of them. Now, if he's wanting a big settlement for himself, then he needs to provide real factual evidence that is related to the case. The fact is, Harry doesn't deserve any credit because he didn't have any case whatsoever. My suspicion is that he was set up by Elton John and the other people involved to be their spokesperson. But apparently, they failed to remember that Harry does not have the intelligence to be able to carry off this important task with any kind of conviction. To show up in a court of law with no evidence, not a single bit, but with feelings instead, yeah, it's not going to work. The judge really should have thrown the whole thing out. Looked to me like Harry's motive was just to get back at the press who he believes murdered his mother. Of course, he had to go after Piers Morgan too, and to be Meghan Markle's cheerleader, who is probably lying on the floor in a sobbing heap as we speak. Harry does not understand how these adult things work, and he showed that. I mean, if you're going to make a complete idiot of yourself, at least do it in private. Harry has only given the media more ammunition to use against him. He is such a dum-dum. I don't think Harry understands what the word evidence means. See, evidence would mean proving a fact that something was said or something happened, but Harry doesn't have anything. He doesn't have any newspaper article that he can say, well, that's not true, the truth is this. And also, let's not forget the lies, both of them told in that Oprah Winfrey interview and the other interviews that Harry's done too, and all the lies in that stupid book of his. That is all the evidence that most people require, words out of Harry's mouth said in front of millions of people. And you, what do you think about Harry? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. If you think my video is useful, remember to like and share with your friends and family who would enjoy it anytime you want. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.